Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Arizona.
It's a Thursday matinee inside Chase Field. Diamondbacks and Padres this afternoon as the D-backs look for their fourth series sweep of the year. 23-8, the best home record in baseball, and some home cooking is on the stove. We're serving up some D-backs baseball here on Fox Sports Arizona. Good afternoon from Chase Field and welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthume and Bob Brenly along the way. The purple is in place. We are set for a throwback Thursday sweep of San Diego, but there's a little bit of a twist with our pitching matchup here today. Clayton Richard for the Padres, Patrick Corbin for the Diamondbacks. These two pitchers rank 1 and 2 in the National League in hits allowed, so we'll watch for that here today. And let's start, Bob, with Clayton Richard, who's number 1. He goes for the Padres. He's been very good against the Diamondbacks in San Diego. Here, not so much.
Yeah, 15 2/3 innings pitched in San Diego at Petco Park. Only 2 earned runs allowed. Here at Chase Field, he got banged around pretty good. Gave up 6 runs in 3 2/3. He's a dead ground ball pitcher when he's right, keeping that sinker down.
What's the key for Patrick Corbin?
Patrick Corbin needs to get out of the first inning unscathed. It has been a rough start to the games this season. 16 runs allowed in the first inning over 12 starts. That's the second most in Major League Baseball. He's given up 15 extra base hits in 12 first innings this year.
Hopefully Patrick gets through the first. We're on our way to a 3-game sweep of San Diego, the D-backs and the Padres. First pitch is coming up shortly on Fox Sports Arizona. Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by Gila River. Experience winning like you've never imagined at the Gila River Casinos, Lone Butte, Wild Horse Pass, and Equiva. By Jack in the Box and the Jumbo Jack, a home run for your mouth. By the Donor Network of Arizona. Sign up, save lives. Visit DonateLifeAZ.org. And by CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world. Sports Arizona is brought to you by your Valley Honda dealer, where you get more standard features for less money. By Gigablast Internet from Cox. Get ready for the gig life. By Oregano. Step up to the plate for a guaranteed home run at Oregano's, your neighborhood pizza joint, location statewide. And by State Farm, here to help life go right. Diamondbacks, winners of a season-high 8 straight home games, best home record in baseball, 23-8. Jake Lamb and company set to try and sweep these Padres. And the first pitch is next on Fox Sports Arizona. Field on this throwback Thursday. D-backs looking for their 4th series sweep of the year. They have swept the Indians, the Mets, and the White Sox here at Chase Field. And today, the purple is in place. Baxter set to go. A 3-game sweep of the Padres perhaps on hand. Let's take a look, Bob, at the lineup for San Diego. It's brought to you by your Valley Chevy dealers.
Jose Pirela will lead it off for the Padres today at second base. Yanhervey Solarte at third base. Will Myers, who's been struggling in this series, struggling lately, he'll be down at first base. Hunter Renfroe, a power threat in the middle there, playing right field. Austin Hedges back in the lineup behind the plate. Franchy Cordero out in center field. Matt Caesar in left field. Chase Darno at shortstop, and lefty Clayton Richard on the mound.
Another left-hander on the mound for the Diamondbacks. He's your Ram truck starter. It's Patrick Corbin. Patrick has lost his last 2 starts, hit hard both times, once at Milwaukee, once at Miami. As we told you at the top of the show, the only pitcher in the National League who's given up more hits this year is the Padres starter today, Clayton Richard.
And as we spoke about in the open, that first inning has really been the Achilles heel for Patrick Corbin this year. 12 innings pitched, 16 hits, 16 runs, 5 homers, 5 walks. Opponents hitting .364. The OPS over 1,200 in the first inning against Patrick.
That is priority 1. Get through that first. Here's the Diamondbacks defensive lineup, brought to you by Nationwide Vision Centers.
Gregor Blanco out in center field. Daniel Descalso in left. Chris Owings in right today against the left-handed starter. Jake Lamb and Nick Ahmed on the left side of the infield. Brandon Drury, Paul Goldschmidt on the right side. Chris Iannetta behind the plate for lefty Patrick Corbin.
Behind the plate for the umpires, it's Tim Timmons. He'll have the balls and strikes today. James Hoy's at first base. The kerchief is Jeff Kellogg. He's the second base umpire. And Clint Fagan is at third. Just about set to go, but while we have a moment, BB, let's check your Valley Honda dealers. Key to the game.
Well, there's an old fable about the lions and the gazelles in the jungle. The lion, if he wants to eat, he's got to be faster than the slowest gazelle. And when the gazelle wakes up in the morning, he knows he has to be faster than the fastest lion to survive. The moral of the story is hit the ground running.
What just happened?
That old fable, a Sunday school teacher taught me years and years and years ago.
Jose Perella, I'm not sure if he's the gazelle or the lion, but he's going to lead it off. 3 for 7 so far. Just called up from AAA El Paso to begin this series, and we're underway on a Thursday afternoon in downtown Phoenix. Perella 3 hits last night, a double and an RBI.
Yeah, Perella with 3 hits in a game last night. He didn't even come into the ball game until the 5th inning.
It was that kind of game last night. 3 hours and 48 minutes. Diamondbacks won at 7-4. Got a little punchy as the game wore on. I think we all did.
There's another pickoff attempt to first.
Well, Patrick right away behind on Perella, 3-0.
You know, and to try to solve these first inning problems for Patrick Corbin, he's tried to alter his pregame routine, throw a little bit longer in the bullpen, kind of simulate an inning in the bullpen, if you will, before taking the game mound, hoping that that will get him into a better rhythm, break a little better sweat. Hit the ground running.
Well, it's not the way to start a leadoff walk. That has been the biggest hurdle Patrick has faced this year. 16 earned runs allowed in the first inning of baseball games, including 5 home runs. It was a 4-run first. His previous start in Miami gave up a pair of first inning homers. 2 runs in the first inning at Miller Park in Milwaukee in a start before that. Yangervis Solarte, 249 and 5 homers. Solarte homered last night. One and 0. Solarte was 0 for 4, a couple of strikeouts in the series opener Tuesday night. He's a switch hitter, Yangervis Solarte. He's on the side the Diamondbacks want him on right now. Just under 200 as a right-hand hitter. All his 5 homers have come from the left side. And Chris Iannetta out there quickly. So far, Patrick's thrown only 1 strike.
Still trying to get that image out of my mind of Solarte going down and golfing that Zach Greinke slider out of here to right field last night. He picked it right off the top of the dirt and hit it out of here.
Second batter of the ball game. It was 1-0 San Diego, just like that. This was Solarte last night against Greinke, first inning.
Yeah, not every home run you give up is on a bad pitch. That one was down and in. You could see Jeff Mathis was getting ready to block the pitch in the dirt, and somehow Solarte got the barrel underneath it and scooped it out of here to right field.
Well, Patrick has gone 3-0 and now 3-1 on the first 2 batters he's faced. And you mentioned Will Myers on deck. Perella last night coming into the game midway through. As we saw, he can really fly around those bases. Out to right field. Owings was playing back. It drops in front, and there is Perella flying into third, and he is safe. Overslid the bag a bit. Jake Lamb had the glove down. Torey Lovullo was saying, hold on, let's take a look. Well, he can really accelerate when he gets going.
Yeah, we saw that in the game last night. Nice play by Chris Owings. Got to it quickly. Used that infielder's quickness to get off that throw to third base. Kind of an awkward slide over there by Perella. We'll get another look here. Man.
And they're going to challenge. Headsets are going on. Ooh, right there.
A tag on the left hand before the right hand got back on the base.
Boy, it is impressive watching Jose Perella run. So here we go. Jeff Kellogg, the crew chief, is on the left there in the middle. Chris Owings was really back deep in right field. Solarte dropped that ball in front. Here's one more look. All right, there we believe is where Jake may have got him on the left hand.
And obviously this is the most important part of this play. Get that guy out at third base for the first out of the inning, and also you kept the double play in order. You may have noticed in one of the replays we showed you there, Nick Ahmed faking like he was going to cut the ball off, and that held Solarte at first base on that throw into third, keeping the double play in order depending on what happens on the call at third.
And as we so often remind you, this is the nitpicky aspect of replay review, every frame of video, but you occasionally find out things like that. They got him. He overslid the bag. Lamb got the tag down, and Perella's out at third. Here's another look.
At the plate, first baseman, number 4, Will Myers.
Yeah, I think they got it absolutely right. I mean, like you said, they're breaking it down frame by frame by frame to get the call right, but they did get it right. Nice throw by Chris Owings, nice tag by Jake Lamb.
So it's Solarte at first, 1 out, and the batter is Will Myers. Myers is scuffling in this series, 1 for 8 with 5 strikeouts. 255 on the year and 12 home runs. But that strikeout rate running right now at a career high for Will Myers. Second in the National League in strikeouts, behind only the Brewers' Keon Broxton. There's another throw over and a nice scoop by Goldie. Almost lost your chance for the double play ball right there.
Yeah, that's one of those little things I mentioned. Nick Ahmed coming over from his shortstop position as the cutoff man on that throw to third base. Decoyed as if he was going to cut the ball off, and that forced Solarte to slam on the brakes over there at first. Now you get the out at third base on the appeal. You got a possibility of getting out of this inning with a ground ball.
Swing and a miss, and it's 0-1. Good fastball from Patrick.
That's one of those little things that don't show up in a box score. There's no sabermetric to keep track of that, but it was a really nice play by Nick to decoy that runner and keep him at first.
Well, there's not one yet. The way we're going, they'll have one for everything. 1-1 now. It's that Corbin changeup. That's the pitch he's been trying to refine for a couple of years now. Patrick and Robbie Ray sort of similar right there. They've never quite gotten along with the changeup. We've seen Robbie switch to that curveball as sort of an off-speed pitch. That's worked out very well for him. But Patrick, Bob, it seems like sometimes can be too predictable fastball slider.
Yeah, and when his command is not great and that sinker tends to tail back over the heart of the plate. You remember last year we talked all the time about Patrick bullying right-handers inside, pounding that fastball inside where they couldn't really do anything with it. But this year a lot of those pitches have tailed back over the inner part of the plate and have been hit very hard.
That's going to get into the seats.
You can be a two-pitch pitcher. Your command of the two pitches just has to be really good to make it look like more than two pitches. Throw the slider to the back door, throw it to the back foot, elevate a fastball, throw a fastball down, in and out, up and down. Really give the hitter a lot of different looks, but unfortunately recently Patrick has made a lot of mistakes in the middle.
2-2 on Will Myers. Yeah, Torey Lovello has seen that even during some of Patrick's rough outings this year, he's had some good moments inside of those rough outings. If it's a bumpy first inning, for instance, he's often able to level off and keep the Diamondbacks in the game after that, and they've seen enough good here to keep going. That was a slider that missed, and now it's full on Myers. 3-2. Boy, Patrick so far 15 pitches, only 5 for strikes. Solarte holds on 3-2, and Myers fouls that one off. Myers still hitting the occasional home run. He's always a threat up there, obviously, but he has really slumped. Hitting only 203 since May the 1st. Trying to come in with a fastball, but missed. Second walk of the inning for Patrick Corbin.
We've talked about Patrick's first inning struggles, and these numbers really illustrate it. His ERA in the first inning is 12. For the rest of the game, under 4. 5 home runs allowed in the first inning, 9 in all the rest of his outings. After that first inning, opponents hitting over 400 with runners in scoring position, 220 for the rest of the game.
Yeah, that's one of the things that Torey Lovullo was talking about. Patrick has done enough inside some of these rough outings to show that he's not far off. They believe he's close. Hunter Renfroe now. 231, 13 home runs. Homered here twice Tuesday night.
Good slider to start the sequence there. Renfroe a little upset with himself.
Now we've seen Renfroe regress a little bit, kind of getting back to being that big free swinger that he was in April. He has struck out in 5 of his 9 at bats in this series, despite the home runs. Good fastball from Corbin, 0-2.
And for Hunter Renfroe and just about every other hitter in the major leagues, it basically comes down to pitch selection. We saw him swing at a fastball that was neck high in the ball game last night. Kind of an ugly looking abbreviated swing. We see him chase some breaking balls in the dirt.
Broken bat, bloop, and that one's going to dunk into center. Solarte had to hold up. He'll stop at third, and the bases are loaded. And again, Patrick Corbin in first inning trouble.
That's not fair. Guy as big and strong as Hunter Renfroe takes a full swing and fires a flare out into shallow left center field. Outfielders were obviously playing deep, respecting the power of Hunter Renfroe, and then he breaks his bat and it's a little flare that drops in front.
Mike Butcher out to the mound. That's just tough luck right there.
Yep.
You see now how big that play was that Jake Lamb made to keep that tag on Pirela over sliding third base. Still a 0 on the scoreboard, but Patrick is having trouble throwing strikes. Bases full, 1 out, and the hitter will be Austin Hedges. Hedges is a power threat. 211 and 11 home runs. 0 for 3 in this series with a couple of strikeouts. Padres have a big threat. Solarte at third, Myers at second, and Renfroe at first. Fastball in. 0-1. Hedges tied with Kansas City's Salvador Perez for the most home runs among catchers in the majors with those 11 homers. Up the middle and into center. Solarte scores. Myers coming home as well. And the Padres have a 2-0 lead.
Just out of the reach of Nick Ahmed up the middle of the field right there. Edge is pretty much a pull hitter when he hits the ball on the ground, but that time goes back up the middle. Good location, got the ground ball he was looking for. Unfortunately, nobody could get to it.
And the first inning theme continues for Patrick. Third consecutive start in which he's given up multiple runs in the first. Here's the center fielder, Franchi Cordero. 22-year-old rookie, only 10 games in the big leagues, hitting .333. Cordero singled and tripled in last night's game. He's made only 8 starts in the majors. He's hit safely in 7 of them. Chases that slider in the dirt, and Patrick's ahead 0-2. Hunter Renfroe at second. Austin Hedges at first. Went to the slider again. Cordero lays off. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Here we go. Most runs allowed in the first. Patrick Corbin, number 1. That includes the 2 the Padres have just scored. Fastball away, missed. 2 balls and 2 strikes on the Padres rookie. 26 pitches, only half of them for strikes. There's a big out for Corbin. His first strikeout, 2 down.
Maybe a little anger behind those pitches to Cordero. His fastball 95 in that at bat. Nasty snapdragon slider right there to finish the sequence.
Matt Caesar is the hitter now. The start this afternoon in left field for Andy Green. Caesar 200 with 1 home run. He started the series opener here Tuesday night, walked 3 times. On the ground to shortstop. Ahmed, the short way to Drury. The force on Hedges. That ends the inning. But the Padres score 2. Diamondbacks coming up. Three Padres hits in the top of the first. Diamondbacks in a 2-0 hole. And they're up against your Ram truck starter for the Padres, Clayton Richard, the left-hander. Giving the Diamondbacks a difficult time this year. A little odd considering that no pitcher in the league has given up more hits this year than Clayton Richard.
He's, as I mentioned earlier, a dead sinker ball pitcher. 60% ground ball percentage this year, ranks 5th in the majors. He's got to keep the ball down with a little bit of movement. When he elevates, his stuff is very, very average.
Well, he's been very good against the Diamondbacks at Petco Park, but they beat him up his 1 start earlier here at Chase Field. Gregor Blanco leads it off. Blanco 266 and 1 home run. He doubled twice, walked, scored 3 times in Tuesday's series opening ball game. Couple of key left-hand bats in there for Torey Lovello. Got Blanco leading off. Descalso batting 5th. Jake Lamb drops to 7th against the lefty Richard. Show you that lineup in a moment. 1 and 2 on Blanco.
Well, Clayton Richard has more starts and stops and hiccups and pauses in his delivery than just about any pitcher this side of Johnny Cueto.
Let's take a look at that D-backs lineup. It's brought to you by your Valley Chevy dealers.
Gregor Blanco being center field, leading it off. Chris Iannetta batting second and catching. Paul Goldschmidt at first base. Chris Owings out in right field. Daniel Descalso in left field. Brandon Drury at second base. Jake Lamb down in that 7th spot playing third base. Nick Ahmed at shortstop, and Patrick Corbin on the mound.
Clayton Richard, we've seen him 3 times already with that unusual delivery. Just kind of flings the ball in there with his hand right next to his ear. And works on one extreme side of the rubber. He's way over there. First base side, which makes it tough on the lefties especially.
It almost looks like a stretch position, but he has a little step back wind up right there. Just pause at the top, extend that right foot out the front, kind of bangs the ball on his hip before he delivers it. A lot of things going on.
Tried to drop a changeup in there, but just missed. Here's another look.
That's way inside.
Tim Timmons saw it that way. Full count, 3-2. Roll to first for Myers. All right, on defense for the Padres is sponsored by Nationwide Vision Centers.
They'll feature an outfield of Caesar in left, Cordero in center, Renfroe over in right field. It'll be Solarte and Darno on the left side of the infield with Perella and Myers on the right side. Austin Hedges behind the plate for the lefty Clayton Richard.
Chris Iannetta in the 2-hole today, 218 and 7 homers. Torey Lovullo said before the game today, I wanted to mix things up a little bit with this lineup. Let's pile up some right-handers on top of each other against the lefty Richard. Give Chris a chance to hit ahead of Goldie, who's on deck. Nice little right-hand power duo in the 2 and 3 spots against Clayton Richard. Iannetta down quickly, 0-2. Chris, 5 home runs, 8 RBIs in his last 10 games. That slider's in the dirt, 1-2. Clayton Richard has given up 10 hits in each of his last 2 starts and 3 times in his last 4. He's been hit a lot, as we've talked about. Previous start was last Friday against the Rockies at Petco Park. Gave up 10 hits in 5 2/3. Still won the ball game. Solarte at third.
Hey fans, a D-backs home run today means a free jumbo jack tomorrow at participating Jack in the Box locations with the purchase of a large drink.
Paul Goldschmidt, 305 and 13 home runs. Single last night, his only hit in the series. He's walked twice and struck out twice in the series. Goldie has scored 4 runs in the first 2 games against the Padres. He's leading all of baseball in runs scored this year. He's ahead 2-0. Jake Lamb's leading the league in RBIs. Goldie's leading the league in runs scored. I sense a pattern there. Backdoor changeup is there. It's 2-1.
I think that's one of the things that makes Paul Goldschmidt so valuable, even when he's not swinging the bat at the highest level, which we see him do most of the time. But occasionally when he gets into those little funks, he still gets on base. He still takes his walks. He still gets on the plate.
There's a knock into left. A 2-out single for Goldie. He's aboard for Chris Owings.
And the fact that he's such a good base runner, good base stealer, gets himself into scoring position a lot of times for Jake Lamb and the teammates hitting behind him in the order.
Goldie's on base percentage at Chase Field this year is over .490. So he's getting on base every other time he's up this year here at home. Chris Owings up right now in the cleanup spot against the lefty. Jake Lamb hits 7th. CO 297 now with 7 home runs. That's a career high already. He homered here Tuesday night. Base hit. That's in the gap. It's going to get to the wall. Goldie on the run. He's coming around third. Owings will stop at second. Here's the throw, and it's not in time. RBI double for Chris Owings. Now he's driving the freight train.
Well, that's a great approach against Clayton Richard, a guy that doesn't like to come inside to right-handers and give him something to pull. Look out over the plate and drive it that way. Actually, that ball worked its way on the inside part of the plate, but the inside-out swing produces that line drive into the gap in right center. With 2 outs, Goldie's off with the crack of the bat and is able to come around and score as the throw home is high and late.
Well, CO is so quick with those hands when they try and come in on him. We were just talking about what a good base runner Goldie is. There's another thing that you can't really measure that pays off big time. Daniel Descalso batting 5th against the left-hander. The start in left field. There's strike 1. Every time Torrey's had a chance to sort of play an unusual card with his lineup, a different substitution, a lefty against a lefty here, it's had an odd way of working out. He seems to have sort of this Kreskin magic touch. Every once in a while he'll miss, but for the most part the luck has been on his side with things like this, hitting Descalso 5th against a lefty. So let's see. That's going to drop in. Oh, the magic touch is still going. Here comes Owings, and we're tied at 2. Sorry, Lavello, boy. It just keeps working out.
Well, a lot of that has to do with Torrey showing confidence in these guys that they can come through regardless of what role he happens to put them in. Little floater out into shallow left field. Once again with 2 outs. Chris Owings off on contact, and he'll score easily to tie it up.
Diamondbacks are at it again. 3 consecutive hits and 2 runs, all with 2 outs. They scored 5 with 2 outs. In the ball game last night, that was in the 3rd inning. Here's Brandon Drury, who homered in that 3rd inning last night.
D-backs have scored 19 runs in this series, 15 of them with 2 outs.
That the kind of thing you think feeds off itself, becomes just sort of thing that sweeps through the dugout?
And it sweeps through the other dugout too. You know, you get into those situations. If you're the Padres, you got 2 outs. We're in pretty good shape here. 2 outs, nobody on base, and before you know it, the Diamondbacks have put 2 runs on the board and have another runner on base. And when it happens repeatedly, and it's happened repeatedly in this series, it starts to get between your ears as the opponent.
Well, the D-backs in the 3rd inning last night had 6 straight reach, 2 home runs in there. They got 5 on the board. Last night was a scoring palooza. All the 2-out runs in the 3rd. Drury, a part of that, is 5th of the year.
Way back there on the concourse.
That was 2 batters after a Jake Lamb 3-run homer. 1-2 on Brandon. Well, what's this do for Patrick Corbin? Right away, another shaky first inning is, in a sense at least, washed off the books.
Well, yeah, you hit the restart button. You've got an opportunity to go right back out there in the second inning and basically start this game over again. You're dead even with the Padres right now. Patrick threw some good pitches in that first inning, threw some not so good pitches in that first inning, but he's got a chance to go right back out there and start over fresh.
I think Mike Butcher's telling him that right now.
Yep.
Each team now with 2 runs on 3 hits. 1 and 2 on Brandon Drury. And that fastball is in there. Brandon caught looking. Tim Timmons rings him up. Diamondbacks get 2 runs back. We're tied after 1.
He needs to make that pitch, and those are situations where pitchers and hitters alike, they just have moments where they miss, and I know that he's working hard to cure that and make sure that doesn't happen.
Torey Lovella addressing the recent struggles of Patrick Corbin, and I had a chance to talk with the lefty prior to this start, and he admitted it's been frustrating. He said there hasn't been any major adjustments to make to his mechanics, but nevertheless he spent a lot of time over video and working with Mike Butcher, and the key today, he said, would be to keep his emotions in check so things do not unravel. So guys, let's see now if he can have a shutdown inning.
Well, Kate, the 2 runs back should certainly help those emotions, right? I would think, BB, as we said, it's, you know, the runs are still on there, obviously, but now it's a tie game again.
Well, baseball is a team effort. We hear Torey talk about it all the time. Sometimes the offense needs to pick up the pitching staff. Sometimes it's vice versa. The pitching needs to throw a shutout to help out the offense, and you always need that defense there and the good base running, all the other fundamentals of the game. But his offense has put him right back into a possibility of pitching deep into this ball game and bringing home a victory.
Here's Chase d'Arnaud, Padres shortstop today. .270 in 24 games this year. He's already on his 3rd team this season. Started Tuesday's game at shortstop, went 0 for 4. Also had a key ground ball go run under his glove. That's a foul ball. Robert Bam Bam Balderrama, our Golden Glover, down the left field line. There he is.
Bam Bam is a day game specialist. He likes these matinee games.
Any game is good for Fred Bauer. That's why we call him Big Game Bauer.
Yep.
Big game work in the right field corner tonight. 1 and 2 on Chase d'Arnaud. Got him. Second strikeout for Corbin, 1 away.
Start to the inning here. Hard slider down and in. A lot of downward movement on that particular slider. Occasionally Patrick gets underneath the ball a little bit, and that slider flattens out and tends to stay on the same plane. Much like Andrew Chafin. When he gets on top of that slider, he gets that downward break that he's looking for.
Clayton Richard looks at strike one. Richard's been something of a hitter this year, batting 190 on the season. Called strike three. 2 strikeouts open up the second. That brings up Jose Pirela.
Just what the doctor ordered. Get that third out here quickly. Get your team back in that dugout with a little momentum after the offensive outburst in the bottom of the first inning. After gets the 8 and 9 hitter. Now we roll around to the top of the order.
Pitch efficiency. Pirela walked to lead off the ball game. Was thrown out at third. Trying to go first to third on a base hit by Solarte. Pirela coming off a 3-hit game last night.
I think if I'm Andy Green, that's one of those ones where you go over and pat the youngster on the back and say, keep doing that. You know, occasionally you're going to run into an out on the bases. He was safe at third base. He just came off the bag on his slide.
Shoots that one fair down the right field line, and look at him go. Owens is over there to pick it up, and Pirela is on base again. So far today, a walk and a double.
I'll tell you what, this Padres team at times this year has looked very flat, but I think this young man right here is going to light a fire under some of these Padres hitters. This guy's got a lot of energy. He takes a very aggressive hack at the plate. I really like what I've seen from him.
Was having a big year at AAA El Paso when he was called up to begin this series, hitting over .330 down there with 13 home runs. And Hervey Solarte singled and scored his first time up. Look out, Glenn Hoffman.
Well, he's dodged a few of those over the course of his career.
Sometimes while playing shortstop for the Red Sox.
Glenn Hoffman, of course, the older brother of former Padre tremendous closer Trevor Hoffman. Glenn will tell you that Trevor got all the talent, he got all the looks.
Well, it's obvious.
He's been a fixture in that third base coach's box for the Padres, much like Tim Flannery was for years and years with Bruce Bochy up there in San Francisco. They were kind of givens. You knew when you played the Padres with the Giants, you were going to see those same two guys down there at third base.
Squibb shot foul. That's behind first base coach Johnny Washington. 1-2 now on Hervey Solarte. There's Johnny Washington. Solarte is a tough customer in this ballpark. He's a career .339 hitter at Chase Field. 25 RBIs in 30 games here. Pirela, the runner at second, 2 outs. Come on, there it is. 4 strikeouts for Patrick Corbin, 3 in that inning. We're tied at 2.
Tied at 2 as we head to the bottom half of the second inning here at Chase Field. Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
And don't forget, use Fox Sports Go, presented by your Valley Honda dealers, to watch Diamondbacks baseball on your mobile device. Jake Lamb leads off the second against Clayton Richard. There's a strike. Jake Lamb leading the major leagues in runs batted in. 53, 286 and 15 home runs. Bounces one into the shift. Myers the backhand stab. He's got it one away.
Let's try this one more time. Anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating Deja Vu locations.
Excellent. That was for you a shutdown inning after a bumpy first.
We're going to read it after every out the rest of the day
until we get our tacos. Nick Ahmed, 270 and 5 homers. Usually Torrey likes to bat Nick second against left-hand starters. That's worked out very well this year, but he wanted Iannetta up there, some more right-handers at the top of the lineup, so Nick is in the 8th spot. And there's strike one.
I'll tell you, the 2 spot in this Diamondbacks lineup ahead of Paul Goldschmidt might be the most comfortable cradle in the major leagues.
Well, Chris is in there today.
Yeah, when push comes to shove and pitcher has to make a decision on what pitch to throw to that number 2 hitter, all he has to do is take a look in that on deck circle and decide, I don't want nothing to do with that guy, so I'm going after the number 2 hitter.
And David Peralta is usually the beneficiary of that. He's on the bench against the lefty today, but Peralta's put up a ton of hits lately. Chris Owings, by the way, started, we're told, making fun of David. We'll get into that a little bit later. Off the glove of Solarte, can't find it. Darno recovers and throws it away. Well, Chase Darno has had to be kind to rough series defensively at shortstop.
Be an infield single and an E6. Solarte just put his head down, blindly tried to pick that ball out of the dirt, hit the heel of his glove and shot straight up in the air. I mean, props to Chase Darno to back up the play and attempt it, but yeah, you're right. He has really struggled both defensively and at the plate in this series.
Yeah, single E6 has Ahmed at second. 1 out for Patrick Corbin. Myers in on the grass at first. Patrick looks at strike one. See teams constantly now trying to counterpunch that Diamondback running game. Inside moves, lookovers to bases, throwovers, pitch outs.
Just stand on the mound and hold the ball sometimes.
Like this. Missed on a slider and it's 0-2. Well, this is the Diamondbacks' 4th look at Clayton Richard this year. They should be well familiar with him, even with that quirky windup. Richard beat the D-backs 4-1 at Petco Park in April. And then again, just 3 starts ago, threw a complete game in San Diego. That was a 5-1 final. But the Diamondbacks did rough Richard up the only time they faced him here at Chase Field. That was April 25th. 6 runs, 8 hits. He lasted only 3 2/3.
He also walked 3 Diamondbacks hitters in that game. They were very patient. They didn't chase a lot of those sinkers down in the zone. They made him get it up into the zone where they could handle it. And if they didn't, they just took their base on balls.
There's the fastball for strike 3. Second strikeout for Richard. 2 down.
Right at the top of the zone in 94. It's a location you rarely see Clayton Richard throw a fastball.
Looking for a 2-out RBI from Gregor Blanco, who grounded out his first time up. Ahmed takes off for third. Here's the throw, and he's in there. Nick Ahmed, that running game is moving again. His 4th stolen base.
Picked a good time to run. Chase Darno was breaking for second base on a pickoff attempt as that ball was delivered to home plate.
Yeah, headsets are coming on.
That head first slide we've talked about. Torrey hates that head first slide. Nick really the only guy that is having some trouble breaking that habit.
And Bob, as you always point out, that's an excellent play by Solarte, just to keep the glove attached in case he does overslide the bag. Keep that glove down.
You know, the old conventional wisdom on a play at second base or third base when the runner's attempting to steal was catch the throw and just slap the tag down in front of the base. Don't worry about whether you make contact with the runner or not. Just get the tag down quickly. But now with the challenge and the replays we have in place, you keep that tag on the runner as long as you can, because we've seen it repeatedly when guys come off the bag, and if the tag's still on them, they're out.
It's that left hand that snuck in there at first, and then watch it come off the bag a bit while the tag is still applied. And he is out. Pretty clear and convincing evidence that time, so that ends the inning. Ahmed is thrown out trying to steal. We'll head to the third in a 2-2 ball game. To end the second, we're 2-2 in the third here. Fans, MLB.com at bat is your #1 mobile app for live Diamondbacks baseball. Stay connected with a fully customizable experience. You'll get D-backs home screen icons, app features, as well as game day, live game video highlights, radio broadcast, statcast news. The whole thing's on there. Just download MLB.com at bat today. Will Myers, who walked his first time up, leads off the third. Myers walked and scored, came home on Austin Hedges' 2-run single. Padres led it 2-0 after a half inning. Diamondbacks counted in the home half. An Owings double, a Descalso single. Patrick trying to come in as he often does, missed there, and it's 3-1.
Yeah, all 4 pitches so far to Will Myers inside. A couple of them off the plate, couple close to the corner, but behind an account 3-1 here. Dangerous pitch upcoming.
Got it up and he knocks it into left center.
That's those aggressive swings that you get when the hitter is ahead in the count. 2-0, 3-1, occasionally 3-2. Will Myers' eyes light up. He sees that fastball up around letter high and bangs it through for a base hit.
Well, here's another guy that gets uber aggressive when he's ahead in the count. It's Hunter Renfroe, who singled in his first at bat today. Homer here twice on Tuesday night. First pitch swinging, pops it up. Goldie will have a look, but it's behind the Padre dugout. Well, Andy Green really believes that Hunter Renfroe, and we've seen this, is going to hit a lot of balls out of the ballpark before the year is out. And he knows Renfroe's got the ability to change the game, but it's all going to be predicated on his plate discipline. They've really tried to get him off just being a big free swinger up there. Get yourself in good count. Stop trying to hit the ball 500 feet all the time. And he's certainly come a long way in a short time. But it's something they kind of have to stay on him about. Alan Zinter's their hitting coach.
And we talked about Hunter Renfroe last night. In his previous 14 games, he'd hit 5 home runs, but even more impressive than that, if you're Andy Green and Alan Zinter, is he hit 320. You know, this is a guy that's probably not ever going to be a high average hitter, but he's going to hit a lot of home runs. He's going to hit a lot of balls in the gap and off the wall. And for him to be able to carry a 320 batting average for the better part of 2 weeks is pretty impressive.
He was the Pacific Coast League MVP last season in AAA, Hunter Renfroe. Reaches out and pokes it fair down the left field line. Will Myers digging for third. Glenn Hoffman going to wave him home. Descalso fishes it out of there. The relay from Ahmed is not in time. And Renfroe's in at third. It got deep into that corner. It was a long throw and a good one by Nick, but it kind of hopped up on Iannetta there.
That was one of those tweener throws from the cutoff man, Nick Ahmed. You were hoping either for a long hop that you could play or a throw that made it all the way in the air, one or the other. You don't want that short hop where you really have to battle just to catch the ball and then try to apply the tag. Chris tries to do it all in one motion right there, and unfortunately the ball hits off his glove. And Hunter Renfroe very alertly advances on to third base.
Still no outs in the inning. Here's Austin Hedges, who had a 2-run single in the first. They give Ahmed an error on that throw for that short hop, allowing Renfroe to get to third. It's a double and an RBI.
Oh, that's a tough error.
Yeah.
You're the cutoff man. You know you've got a runner streaking toward home plate. You just try to get that throw off on line as quickly as you can. Unfortunately, it was a tough short hop for Chris Iannetta to handle behind the plate. But you got to account for every 90 feet that a base runner gets, and they apparently feel that had that throw not gotten away from Chris Iannetta, that Hunter Renfroe would have stayed at second.
Double E6, 0-2 on the catcher Hedges. Did he go? Yes, he did. Fifth strikeout for Corbin, 1 down in the third.
Center fielder, Franchi Cordero.
Brings up the center fielder, Franchi Cordero. The strikeout victim in his first at bat today, 22-year-old rookie. Renfroe at third, 1 out, a run is in. Well, the Padres the second time through being very aggressive very early in the count against Corbin. A lot of first pitch swinging. Cordero's a guy who has really moved up very quickly in the Padres system. He played at 3 levels last year in the minor leagues. Runs very well. He's got a quick bat. A little slow there on the slider, and it's 0-2. Started out last season an A ball at Lake Elsinore. Then he was in the Texas League for about 60 games at San Antonio. Quick stop in AAA El Paso. All the way up 3 levels, and he looks at strike 3. 6 strikeouts for Patrick.
Hey fans, we invite you to participate in Gila River game nights by signing up at one of the interactive kiosks located here at Chase Field during any D-backs home game.
Patrick trying to strand that runner at third. 2 outs now for Caesar. Up the middle. Ahmed behind the bag. Such a quick release. Nick Ahmed ends the inning. They strand Renfroe at third, but the Padres take a 3-2 lead.
Padres take a 3-2 lead on the Hunter Renfroe double down into the left field corner. Nick Ahmed hung with a really tough error on the tail end of this play. Descalso gets the ball to the D-back shortstop in good shape. He's in tremendous position to make that throw to home plate. Unfortunately, the short hop a little too tough for Chris Iannetta to handle at home plate, and because Hunter Renfroe then went from second to third base on the throw to the plate, they had to account for that 90 feet, and Nick is hung with one of the tougher errors you'll ever see.
But then made a terrific play on the ground ball hit by Caesar to win that third. Otherwise, that runner comes home in Hunter Renfroe. Blanco was batting when Ahmed was thrown out trying to steal in the second, so he leads off the third.
Yeah, even though he was hung with the error on that play, I love to watch the way Nick sets up for relay plays. He goes out there and gives the outfielder a real good target to throw to, has his hands up into the air, almost like a field goal. Throw it between my arms, and then as the throw is in the air, he uses his feet to turn his body, so as soon as he catches that ball, he's ready to make the throw to whatever base he's throwing to. He does it as good as anybody in the game. We've seen a couple of cutoff guys this year catch the ball and turn to their right and attempt to make a throw to the base, which is not what you're supposed to do and very tough to make an accurate throw.
2-2 on Blanco. Chased a changeup and strikes out. That's the third for Richard.
Hey fans, the day after every D-backs win, get 50% off all pizzas at regular menu price using promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
Chris Iannetta.
Get one for lunch right now. D-backs won last night.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't bring one into work today.
Well, Place an online order. It should be here soon.
Solarte at third. Two down. Here's Goldie, who singled and scored his first time up.
Chris Iannetta retired twice on ground balls down to Solarte at third base today. However, this season, Diamondbacks #2 hitters, whether it's Peralta or Owings or Ahmed or today Iannetta, 331 leading the major leagues in batting average out of that #2 spot.
And you think it has something to do with this guy?
I absolutely do.
Now, how does that actually manifest itself?
If you're the #2 hitter at the plate, like I was talking about earlier, and it comes to a 3-1 count, and if I'm Clayton Richard and I look in there and I can either throw Chris Iannetta a 3-1 fastball here and take my chances, or maybe change up, throw a breaking ball, or do something to stay out of the zone, and he takes a walk, now I have to face Paul Goldschmidt with a runner on base. So I want to avoid that at all costs. So I'm going to go right after Chris Iannetta or Nick Ahmed or whoever happens to be hitting in that 2-hole. That's a lurking presence over in that on-deck circle.
It's a good way to describe 44. He is a lurking presence. He's already scored 5 runs in this series. Nothing like a throwback Thursday matinee. Those uniforms are gorgeous.
Physical presence of this lineup. Chris Owings doesn't look like a 4-hitter. He doesn't look like a cleanup hitter.
Not at all.
Chris Iannetta certainly doesn't look like a #2 hitter. At least the vision we have in our minds over the years of guys that plug those holes in the lineup and what they should look like.
But it's working, especially here at Chase Field. 23-8, baseball's best home record. 50 pitches for Richard, 34 for strikes. Here's the 2-2 to Goldie. Well, you said
they're really having trouble getting on the same page here.
Edge is going to have to come out and have a word. I got in a great debate the other day about the single-digit pitcher number with, of course, this is why we call him the moral compass, Mike Farron from D-Backs Radio. He's a very strong advocate of the single-digit pitcher number, and I think it looks silly. These are the little things with which we concern ourselves on a long road trip. I saw that Mike Leake was pitching for the Cardinals today, wearing number 8 at Cincinnati. Clayton Richard #3. It's kind of become a new trend.
That would be like an offensive lineman wearing #2.
Yeah, it just doesn't quite
fit.
Yeah, I'm with you. Thanks. All right, well, here comes Chris Owings. Listen to this walk-up music. The joke is on David Peralta. Owings, because he's playing right field against the lefty, decided that today he's going to be the freight train. So he changed his walk-up music to that train song, and you saw CO hit an RBI double in his first at bat, and the first place he looked was into the dugout to David Peralta making that train whistle gesture. And he even had them arrange here at the ballpark, our outstanding crew, Noah Berlin and his team over there, to play the train whistle sound effect. Here it is. So he belts the double, and then watch Owings after Goldie scores.
That's great.
So they are wearing out David Peralta in that D-back dugout. A lot of fun at his expense today. Our thanks to the great Pat O'Connell for the heads up on that. It's all been prearranged. The music, the sound effect. It's like staging a film here. A lot of thought goes into this kind of stuff. High in the air. Deep right center, Cordero near the track, and he's got it. We'll head to the fourth inning. Diamondbacks trail the Padres 3-2. The great Oscar Soria and Rodrigo Lopez. We remind you tomorrow and Saturday's Diamondbacks games will be televised in Spanish on Fox Sports Arizona's Plus channel against the Brewers. Coverage starts tomorrow 6:30, Saturday 7 o'clock. It's presented by your Valley Honda dealers and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. To find your Plus channel listing, check out foxsportsarizona.com. Chase Darno, the shortstop, leads off the fourth against Patrick Corbin. Interesting to get a look at the take on the freight train walk-up music. Do they have walk-up music in your day? Do they?
They didn't even have music when I played.
Mozart was still composing.
No, we didn't have walk-up songs.
It's just like little organ music, maybe something.
Yeah, something, whatever they had.
But you didn't have to, orchestrate anything or put any thought into that.
No.
CEO did a nice job with his whole routine.
And I think the Diamondbacks take great pleasure in getting back at David Walter.
Yes.
He's such a disturber in that clubhouse and the dugout. He's always poking guys and jabbing and causing problems. The day he wore the mic, he walked around the field and couldn't get anybody to talk to him. I think they like getting back at David when they have a chance.
Well, he never shuts up. But it's in a great way, and he is the energy guy, and one of them certainly. On the ground right to Nick Ahmed at shortstop. Bob Patrick, we talked about the need to move on from that bumpy ride in the first inning. Really, with the exception of that Renfroe double that he kind of shot down the line, he's done a good job of that, settling in.
And even you think about Renfroe's double, he was fooled by that pitch way out in front, kind of had to extend his swing and ended up swinging with one arm, but drove it down the left field line for an RBI double. So it wasn't like Patrick made a bad mistake over the middle of the plate that Renfroe ripped down the line. He got fooled.
They need Patrick Corbin. Now they got plenty of pitching depth. That's worked out really well. Godley and Delgado have both been great. We've seen Shipley. Bond is doing well down in the minors and some other guys, but they need Patrick Corbin to be a significant part of this rotation. So they're going to hang in with him and they're going to figure this out, and there's enough good there to keep going. But it's important to get Patrick right and let him contribute in the way we know he can. Because you got Taijuan Walker, it seems close, very close to coming back from that blister. Zach Godley's been terrific filling in for Shelby Miller after the Tommy John. Delgado's been something of a revelation moving in from the bullpen to the rotation. So there's Suddenly now, even despite the loss of Shelby, you've got really, really good depth in this rotation. Patrick Corbin, 7 strikeouts, 2 down in the 4th.
Once again, quickly retires the 8 and 9 hitters in this Padres lineup. He did the same thing back in the second inning before giving up a double to Perella and then finally striking out Solarte to get out of that inning.
Perella, the way he's going, has a chance to be something special in this lineup. Maybe a 2017 version of Trey Turner.
Well, you never know.
You were on the Trey Turner bandwagon with Beat the Streak for a while there.
Try to find that hot hitter.
You know, they kind of play the same style. Perella's a little beefier, but boy, he flies around those bases, and so does Trey Turner of the Nationals. Base hit. Perella's at it again. A walk, a double, now a single.
Hey fans, bring Dad out to the ballpark on Sunday, June 25th. The D-backs will celebrate Dad with Dad's Day special event. Fans who buy this special ticket pack for Dad will get a ticket to the game and a D-backs Dad cap. Buy tickets now at dbacks.com/dad.
On Hervey Solarte has singled, struck out, scored a run. He's 1 for 2. Pitch swinging. Owings is out there and right, backing up. It's carrying a bit, but CO's got it on the warning track, and Corbin strands the 2-out single. Diamondbacks trail the Padres 3-2.
I think they're fun. Not the most comfortable jerseys to put on.
They always like itch my neck or something like that.
It's kind of nice to have a jersey that that doesn't have sleeves on it and you can move around.
Felt like I was looking fresh and I was ready to play.
I think of the Diamondbacks winning the World Series every time we wear them.
I bet it reminds you of that as well.
Yeah, a little bit,
A throwback Thursday matinee. Daniel Descalso leads off the bottom of the 4th against the Padres' Clayton Richard. Descalso batting 5th against the left-hander, an RBI single his first time up.
I like Chris Herman. He feels fresh in the purple.
Well, that's like the kids mean.
Yeah.
I'm explaining to you what's hip. Then you're in a lot of trouble. Let me just say that. Descalso strikes out. 4th strikeout for Richard. 1 down. Brandon Drury. Drury is strikeout victim to win the first. Got caught looking at a fastball. Right through the wickets of Richard. Barella's right there at second. He went 5-hole that time with the Padre pitcher. 2 down.
You know, no Eric Ibar in the lineup today for the Padres, which seems a little unusual. He's a guy, like I said last night, is kind of a coach on the field, but he's a defender in the dugout today, using a helmet to try to stop a foul ball. That guy has fun every day at the ballpark.
I think he hurt himself. Somebody help me.
Strained oblique.
Hey, can you get that? He's entrenched on those stairs. Jake Lamb. Padres have the shift on for Lamb, who grounded out to first his first time up. Darno, the only defender on the left-hand side. Jake came into the ball game 8 for 55 against lefties this year. That's a 145 batting average. There's a look at the defensive line, and he has homered twice off lefties this season. Been a thorn in the Padres side this year, Jake Lamb. In 11 games versus San Diego, he's got 17 RBIs. Takes a slider, and it's even 2-2. Ahmed on deck. Into that shift, Perella, the second baseman from the outfield grass. Myers keeps his foot on the bag. Richard works a 1-2-3 inning. He leads at 3-2 after 4. Story. Miller Park, Milwaukee. Eric Thames, the Brewers, and the Giants takes Johnny Cueto into the upper deck. Thames is back on the power track for the Brewers. And Austin Slater, the rookie, with his first big league homer for the Giants. And right now, San Francisco leading at Milwaukee 5-3. They're in the 7th inning. It's our unlimited baseball break brought to you by T-Mobile. Trey Mancini, a couple of big homers last night for the Orioles against Pittsburgh. C.C. Sabathia, he's won 5 in a row for the Yankees. Those Rockies rookies are good. Freeland Senzatella, and Dallas Keuchel is back on the DL. Again, it's been a neck issue for Keuchel, who's been unbelievable this year. 9-0, a 1.67 ERA for those red-hot Houston Astros, although they've now lost 2 in a row after that 11-game winning streak was snapped. Will Myers has walked, singled, scored twice. He leads off the 5th.
Now the Astros won 11 in a row, and people were planning the parade route through downtown Houston. Maybe a little premature.
In the hole and throw in the left. Myers aboard for the 3rd time today. He's 2 for 2.
Well, we've talked about it throughout this series. Will Myers has not been what we're used to seeing offensively from the Padres first baseman, but you know he is going to find it, and when he does, he is going to be a terror on National League pitchers.
Came into today only 4 for 27 at Chase Field this year, but he's got a walk and 2 singles. He's aboard for Hunter Renfroe. Renfroe has singled, doubled, and knocked in a run. He's 2 for 2. We heard Torey Lovullo speaking about Patrick Corbin, and they watch every start he makes very closely. A lot of work in between starts trying to get him back on track. And Torey said it's just been a case of maybe a little erratic with the fastball command. Kind of a case of little things bringing Patrick down. And a blue pit there, a mislocation here, occasional walk gets him in trouble. But he's working his way through them, and he's smart enough to realize what he needs to do. This is a smart kid and a hard worker. They saw him pitch pretty effectively in April, and they expect he'll do that again in a 1-run ball game right here after a rocky first inning. Patrick facing the Padres for the 3rd time this year. He lost at Petco Park. He won here at Chase Field against them. When Renfroe gets ahead in the count, he is a hitter. The slider that time fouled straight back.
Now slider that Patrick left up in the zone. Dangerous pitch. Fortunately, Hunter Renfroe just fouled it straight back. Don't see him take a lot of swings at breaking balls. Like you said, he's constantly looking, hunting for that fastball that he can pull out of the ballpark. But if he sees a hanging breaking ball up in the zone, he's going to hack at that one too.
Came in with a fastball. Is that one of the ways Patrick sort of counteracts basically being a fastball slider guy? Move that fastball around, in, out, up, down.
Yeah, ideally, if his command is good, I mentioned it earlier, you can make it look like different pitches. You throw your 2-seamer down and away from a right-handed hitter. It looks completely different than a 2-seamer on the inside corner at the belt.
Renfroe fly ball to center for Blanco running in.
Hey fans, add the D-backs pool towel to your collectibles this Saturday, June 10th, before the D-backs Brewers game, courtesy of Gila River Casinos. This is a full body, really soft towel, perfect for the pool this summer. The first 20,000 fans will get the D-backs pool towel courtesy of Gila River Casinos. As always, get tickets at dbacks.com.
That's a 7-10 first pitch on Saturday against Milwaukee. Zach Godley on the mound for that one against Junior Guerra. Here's the catcher, Austin Hedges. That is launched. That's a big league foul ball right there. Nice catch. How about that? And he's got the teal jersey on. That's a contract right there.
Ow, ow, ow.
Oh, we'll check with the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, Noah Berlin. Make sure we can award the contract. We are a thumbs up from Noah. That was an outstanding play. Jam shot pop up. Iannetta. Now, if you get an honorary D-backs contract, it's not just a little plaque. You get 4 free tickets in the dugout box seating area to any regular season Diamondback home game. You get 30% off your purchases in the team shop. So this is a big prize. It has to be earned, and I think that young man earned it.
I think we ought to throw in an ice bag.
He's going to need that too.
Ow, ow, ow.
So now we got to get a member of your somewhat reliable staff to run that up there for him.
Get right on it.
Don't get bogged down in the bureaucracy.
That's his agent right there beside him. He's already saying, oh, we've got him right where we want him. We'll negotiate out of this fan contract and get a real one.
Franchy Cordero. Well, it's all about leverage. Good fastball from Corbin. It's 0-2. He's already punched out Cordero twice today. Patrick so far has walked 2, struck out 7. And make it 8. Cordero strikes out. He strands that leadoff single. Bottom 5 on the way. Diamondbacks so far have been out hit 8-4. They trail it 3-2. The official greeter welcoming the Tempe South Little League crew to our RamTrucks.com pool area. D-backs fans, stop by your local Fry's. Stock up on your favorite Pepsi products using your VIP card. You'll get valuable D-backs rewards points that you can redeem for merchandise and game experiences. Pepsi, the official soft drink of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Nick Ahmed pops it up to Chase Darno. 1 pitch, 1 out to start the 5th. Lupe works tirelessly behind the scenes here. One of the great clubhouse employees, makes everything happen. Makes sure everything is where it needs to be on all the road trips. He's been here for a long time.
Well, there's something to be said for that too, and I'm sure Roger Riley, the head clubhouse attendant and traveling secretary, would agree.
Here's Lupe in the middle there.
Get those guys down there. They know where everything is. They know where all the bodies are buried down there in that clubhouse. I mean, it runs as seamlessly as any clubhouse I've ever been around.
We got a great staff down there. We're so lucky. Patrick Corbin, 5 in a row, set down by Clayton Richard. Surprised Lupe's not in the pool, actually. It's kind of a hot day.
I think there are some club rules about Lupe taking off his shirt.
Lupe's dropped a lot of weight.
Yeah,
he worked hard. He looks fantastic. He became a workout machine. Corbin reaches out and taps it back to the mound. I mean, half of Lupe vanished in one off season. He showed up. He looked like one of those Charles Atlas ads.
You don't want to kick sand in his face, that's for sure.
No. Gregor Blanco 0 for 2 will lead it off. Batting in the leadoff spot. Blanco 3 for 23 versus lefties this year. Diamondbacks so far only 4 hits against Clayton Richard. 3 of them came in that first inning. Trying to bunt his way on. Tricky play, and he's aboard. It got by Richard. Solarte couldn't barehand it. A bunt single for Gregor Blanco.
That's a big part of his arsenal, Gregor Blanco, the ability to dump that ball down the third baseline. Got it right out near the end of the bat, just deadened that ball to the left side. Solarte knew this is the only chance he had to get Blanco the barehanded play, and can't come up with it cleanly.
Well, we talked about 2-out runs. Let's see if Iannetta can knock one out of here. He's grounded out twice to third, 0 for 2. Chris batting in the 2-hole today. Torey Lovullo kind of front-loading this lineup with right-handers against the lefty Richard. Wanted to get Chris out in front of Goldie. 70 pitches, 48 strikes for Clayton Richard. Gets one in the air. Fly ball deep left field. And gone. There it is. Chris Iannetta. That's his 8th of the year. A 2-run homer, and it's 4-3 Diamondbacks. Chris Iannetta, 6 home runs in his last 11 games. Well, you could just kind of feel that one coming.
Center cut at 83 miles per hour. I'll tell you, when Chris hits them, they stay hit.
He's a strong guy.
And that started all the way back at Salt River Fields in spring training. Everything he hit this spring was seemingly right on the barrel of the bat. A lot of very tough, loud outs. He just continues to drive the ball.
And the Diamondbacks continue producing 2-out runs. 17 of 21 runs scored in this series have come with 2 outs. Here's Goldie.
We got him right where we want him. 2 outs and nobody on.
Yeah, you were right, boy. We were watching Chris just bang balls off that batter's eye at Salt River Field all spring long. A jumbo jack off the bat of Chris Iannetta. Free jumbo jack tomorrow with the purchase of a large drink at Jack in the Box. It's appropriate that Chris hits a jumbo jack because he's got his winery that he's involved with Vernon Wells. It is called Jack Winery, and it is a fine product. Believe me, we go through a lot of bottles at the house. Goldie just fights that one off. A slider came up in on the hands there, and it's still 0-2. Chris makes a terrific white, a terrific red. You know, all kinds of, I don't know if you're a wine guy. Oh, yeah. It's all right. It goes well with pizza.
Sure does.
Yeah. That is in there for strike 3. Goldie not happy, but Chris Iannetta hits his 8th home run of the year. A 2-out, 2-run homer. And through 5, the Diamondbacks going for the sweep. Lead the Padres 4-3.
Leading off for San Diego, left fielder Matt Caesar.
Well, it started with a heads up, 2 out, bunt single off the bat of Gregor Blanco. Iannetta follows with a 2-run homer. And the D-backs, as we start the 6th, lead the Padres 4-3. Our State Farm winning combo last 9 games against San Diego. Diamondbacks have won 7. Matt Caesar leads it off.
Yeah, hitting over 300, slugging over 500, averaging over 7 runs a game.
Yeah, the Diamondbacks opened up this series big time on Tuesday. They won 10-2. 7-4 last night with that 5-run third. Home runs from Lamb and Drury. And now the Iannetta homer has made it 4-3 D-backs. Caesar so far 0 for 2. Diamondbacks looking for their 4th series sweep of the year. They have swept the Indians, they swept the Mets, they swept the White Sox, all here at Chase Field. And looking for sweep number 4 on this Throwback Thursday. Padres bullpen getting busy with Clayton Richards' spot due up 3rd in the inning. It's Kevin Quackenbush making his requisite appearance. Fastball missed in. It's full on d'Arnaud, or Caesar, pardon me, 3-2. d'Arnaud on deck, and then the pitcher spot. Fastball got away from Corbin, his 3rd walk. Leadoff man's aboard. It's Patrick's 1st walk since he walked Myers, the 3rd batter of the ball game. Mike Butcher and Torey Lovullo mapping things out. Alan Cordoba has come out in the on-deck circle. He would hit for the pitcher Richard. d'Arnaud so far struck out, grounded out 0 for 2. High fly ball headed for the corner and foul. You can hear the bullpen phone ringing for Mike Fetters down there. Here's a look inside the Sanderson Ford bullpen. Been pretty quiet down there, but things are going to start to get lively now. J.J. Hoover taking off his warm-up. Andrew Chafin stretching out. And the Hoove is going to start throwing some pitches down there. Here's the 0-1 to d'Arnaud. Right to Ahmed on the short hop for 1. They won't get 2. That was hit so quickly at Nick, he had to kind of wait for Brandon Drury to get to the bag.
Yeah, a little one hopper right at Nick's feet that time. Got the ball to Brandon Drury in real good shape. You could see how far short of second base Matt Caesar was when he went into that fake slide, but Chase d'Arnaud gets out of the box pretty good and able to leg out that fielder's choice at first.
So this will end Clayton Richards' afternoon. Alan Cordoba hits for the pitcher, 283 and 3 home runs. He singled and scored a run last night. He's 1 for 5 in the series. I don't know how much Matt Caesar runs anymore, but he used to be a pretty good runner when he was at Villanova. Matt Caesar was over there at first base. There's J.J. Hoover warming up at the Sanderson Ford bullpen. Caesar played football and baseball at Villanova and was a receiver and a consensus first team All-American on a Villanova team that won the 2009 national championship at whatever 1AA is now. FBCS, ND, ESP.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
It's a lot easier the other way. Slider missed, and Corbin's behind 2-1.
As a manager and a pitching coach, you start to look for nonverbal signs from your guy out there on the mound. Patrick starting to take a little bit more time between pitches, walking around the mound, wiping his brow from time to time. Yeah, you might go out to the mound and ask him, how you feeling? Oh, I'm great, I'm great. But then you watch his body language and the things he's doing on the mound, and every pitcher will do pretty much the same thing. They'll start to slow the game down a little bit when they're starting to feel a little bit of fatigue.
Caesar takes off. Here's the throw from Iannetta, and he's in there. Score one for Villanova that time, or Darno, pardon me.
Yeah, I believe they're going to call him out at second base. That is a heads-up play by Chris Iannetta. The interference took place at home plate. Cordoba swung at that ball and fell out over the plate. And Chris Iannetta did exactly what a catcher has to do in order to get that interference call. You have to throw the ball to second base and you have to make contact with the batter. And it appeared like Chris did that on his throw to second base.
Andy Green talking with Tim Timmons. Here's a look.
Jumped off it very quickly there, but it looked like Iannetta made contact with Cordoba. Maybe a better look at this one. Kind of leaned into him after the fact.
Well, that's right. Andy's got a pretty good argument there.
Benito Santiago, former Padre catcher, was the master at that. The guy would get a great jump at first base. He would throw to second and jump onto the batter and get more interference calls than you might expect.
You can see Andy Green still giving it to Tim Timmons. Here comes Torey Lovullo. That's going to be it for Patrick Corbin. Well, Greeny's team had the lead here. Chris Iannetta's homers made it 4-3 Diamondbacks as Patrick Corbin exits. We'll take a break. During batting practice tomorrow, so we'll have some of that for you in our game against the Brewers. This is getting to know Torey. He's a member of the UCLA Hall of Fame. His father, Sam Lovullo, was a producer on Hee Haw with Roy Clark and Buck Owen.
Hey, Grandpa, what's for dinner?
He's going to be wearing a microphone tomorrow. Jose Pirela, new pitcher for the Diamondbacks, the right-hander J.J. Hoover. So Hoover working the ball game last night through 20 pitches, 2/3 of an inning. Answering the Ash line call to the bullpen, his 26th appearance of the year. Oh, big jump there, Darno. Hoover a little slow getting it to first. Chase Darno with a heads-up play there.
Now, the mistake Hoover made was not just stepping off the rubber. When that runner breaks early like that, just step off. Then you become an infielder and you can throw anywhere you want on the infield. But when you spin to first base the way J.J. Hoover did, you have to complete your pickoff throw to first base. Otherwise, it's a balk.
Well, that's a big play right there because they haven't retired Pirela yet today. Now the tying runs in scoring position with 2 down. Pirela has walked, doubled, and singled from the leadoff spot. Just called up from AAA to start this series on Tuesday, and he's looked good. Better than good. He's 5 for 9. Fourth stolen base of the year for Chase Darno. Hoover behind 3-0. Solarte on deck. Pirela singled against J.J. Hoover in the 6th inning last night. Here's the 3-1. Slider drops it in. Count is full, 3-2. Got him to chase that slider down and away. A big strikeout for J.J. Hoover. As they strand Darno, it stays 4-3 Diamondbacks.
98.7 FM.
Bottom of the 6th inning here at Chase Field. D-backs nursing a 1-run lead over the San Diego Padres. It's time to take a look at this day in Major League Baseball history, brought to you by Geico. Marv Rotblatt etched his name in Major League history by becoming the first relief pitcher to be driven in from the bullpen in a car.
Marv Rotblatt?
Yeah, Marv Rotblatt. The old Yankees bullpen car. The Red Sox had a little golf cart that they customized to look like a hat. Yeah, that used to be pretty much standard operating procedure. Look at that, a tugboat in Seattle to bring relief pitchers into the ball game.
At the old Kingdome.
Now, the interesting part about the White Sox doing it first, they only did it for the home team initially. And then they decided, well, we need to provide the same kind of transportation for the visitors. So they got a black Cadillac limousine from a funeral home and drove the visiting relief pitchers in that.
It's a little disconcerting. Well, here, as always, out of the Padre bullpen is Kevin Quackenbush, his 14th appearance of the year. Chris Owings, the cleanup man, leading off the 6th. CO had an RBI double and scored a run back in the 1st, and Quackenbush strikes him out. You ever hitch a ride on one of those things when you were maybe out there catching guys in the bullpen?
I don't recall that we had them around back then. I think they kind of run their course in the 60s and the early part of the 70s, maybe the mid 70s. But by the time I got to the big leagues, I don't think anybody had bullpen cars.
Daniel Descalso.
Of course, back when I played, that was the only exercise some of the relief pitchers got.
I mean, as Rod Beck once said, you can't pull fat.
Can't pull fat.
Shooter. Descalso pops that one straight back. This is the way things have gone for Torey Lovullo today. He decides to put Descalso, who's starting in left field for the injured Yasmani Tomas, in the 5-hole. Maybe a little high lefty on lefty. He had Richard starting. Well, Descalso comes up first inning, RBI single. And he figures, I'll put Iannetta out in front of Goldie. I don't usually hit Chris Iannetta second. In fact, he's never done that. Let's put him out in front of Goldie and see what happens. Sure enough, 5th inning, down 1, 2-run homer. That's just, he's on a roll, man.
Well, I think there's a method to his madness too. He's let these guys know, the bench players, that stay ready. You may be in there on a moment's notice as a pinch runner, a pinch hitter, a double switch candidate, whatever the case may be, and moving guys around the lineup. But the same kind of thing. Listen, I'm not going to sit you on the bench and let you rot over here and then put you in a ball game and expect you to get 3 hits against Clayton Richard. Yeah, put guys in those situations, show them that you have confidence that they can do something that maybe is a little out of their comfort zone, and they're going to respond.
Descalso couldn't quite check on that one upstairs. 2 strikeouts for Quackenbush. That brings up Brandon Drury. Brandon has struck out, grounded out 0 for 2. And he homered here last night, his 5th of the year.
Brandon was called out on strikes to end that first inning, and it just seemed to me like that's something we'd seen a lot of this year. So I had my crack staff look it up. Brandon Drury has struck out looking 35% of his strikeouts. Oh my.
That hurt. Well, he grinds, Brandon Drury. I mean, he likes to see pitches grind out at bat. Sometimes he'll get behind in the count because of that. Let's have a look at where this one got him exactly.
Left shoulder. Yeah, 16 of his 46 strikeouts this year have been looking. That's 35%. League average is 23.5%.
What do you make of that?
Maybe just overthinking a little bit with 2 strikes, trying to guess along with the pitcher and catcher what they might throw him in that 2-strike count, and occasionally has been caught by surprise with fastballs right down the middle of the plate.
Well, Jake Lamb gets to bat against a right-hander here. Chance to do some damage against Quackenbush with 2 outs and Drury at first. Jake against the lefty Richard, grounded out twice. And there's a look at the defensive alignment. Perella, the second baseman, out there in right field, and Solarte, the third baseman, over near second. Well, Lamb's the guy you want up right now. 11 games against the Padres this year. He's knocked in 17 runs, leading the major leagues in runs batted in right now. It's been a big series for Jake. Long home run last night. He's doubled, he's homered, he's driven in 7 runs in the series. He's also walked twice. One and one. Here's a look at Mark McGuire, Andy Green's bench coach. What's he looking at there?
Well, every bench coach has their own hieroglyphics that they write on that card to update as to who's going to lead off in the next inning. Where are we at in the opposing batting order? Usually put strengths and weaknesses of the guys, the pitchers out of the bullpen that his hitters might face. Yeah, everybody has something a little different. Dusty Baker had his own code, and he would write stuff, and I mean, you couldn't read it.
I think that was the idea.
Yeah. But just, little notes to yourself as you're in your office before the ball game, looking through the mountain of stats that are available, looking at all the videotape, and then you make some notes on your card to remind yourself of things during the game or matchups that you're looking for.
Look at that. Now you get all this data.
Wow.
Color coded, everything.
It's like a Keno board.
Jake looks at a 3-1. It's a base on balls. So 2 on and 2 out for Nick Ahmed. Nick singled in the second inning, popped up his last time. Brandon Drury, the runner at second, Jake Lamb at first. Bounced up the middle. Darno. They got no play. The bases are loaded. Just a 27 hopper over the mound. Darno got it behind the bag, but had nowhere to go.
He was going to try to make a backhanded flip to the bag at second and try to get the force there on Jake Lamb. He had no play otherwise. Diamondbacks load him up with 2 outs.
Pitcher spot is up, and here comes the real freight train. Peralta will hit against the right-hander Quackenbush with the bases full and 2 outs and a 1-run ball game. Peralta 1 for 7 in the series so far. He has walked 3 times.
And no lefty warming in the Padres bullpen, even though they have 3 left-handed pitchers available out of the pen.
May have caught that bench by surprise a bit. Looks like David was kind of scrambling the Jets there at the last minute to get going. 299, 4 homers. Diamondbacks in this series with the bases loaded, 2 for 2 with 4 RBIs. All 1. Well, there's 2 outs, so that's where we like it.
Got him right where we want him.
All the runs in the game the Diamondbacks have scored so far with 2 outs. Scored 5 in the 3rd inning last night, all with 2 outs. 1-1 on Peralta. Brandon Drury's at 3rd, Jake Lamb at 2nd, and Nick Ahmed at 1st. One and 2. Curveball missed, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Diamondbacks so far 4 runs on 7 hits. They have maximized their opportunities. 21 runs on 21 hits in the series now for the D-backs. Here's the 2-2. Kevin Quackenbush and a bases loaded 2-out mess. Diamondbacks lead it 4-3. Peralta hitting in the pitcher spot. A throwback Thursday matinee here at Chase Field. Base hit. Drury scores. They're waving Lamb home. Peralta comes through. More 2-out runs for the Diamondbacks.
It is really uncanny how the Diamondbacks have managed to come up with those big hits. You see where the pitches are against David Peralta here. Quite a mix by Kevin Quackenbush. Ultimately gets a 90-mile-an-hour fastball out over the plate and bangs it right back over the mound into center field to drive home 2.
And it always seems, as it did in that 3rd inning last night, to come out of nowhere. Quackenbush struck out Owing, struck out Descalso. Drury got one in the shoulder. He walked Lamb. Ahmed singles. There you go. Peralta knocks in 2. Gregor Blanco singled and scored in the 5th. We're at 6 runs. You know what that means, my friend.
Yes, indeed. Tacos. Oh, boy, David.
Still 2 runners out there. 1st and 3rd, 2 outs.
Took the staff just a moment to find the sign there.
Somewhat reliable.
Well, you know, I asked him to look up a lot of stuff today, so it took a little while to get the taco sign, but all is well.
They have a lot of duties. Got the chance to really have a big inning, just like the 3rd inning last night with 2 outs. Blanco ahead 3-0. Bases are loaded again, and here comes Iannetta, who homered in his last at bat. Aaron Balsley, the pitching coach. Bullpen is busy for the Padres. Chaz Roberts, air conditioning and plumbing, cool play of the game. Down 1 in the 5th with 2 outs. Chris Iannetta, his 8th, made it 4-3 Diamondbacks, and they're bidding for a whole lot more right here.
Chris Iannetta in his career before today had hit in the number 2 hole for 12 plate appearances. He was 2 for 10 as a number 2 hitter before today.
Corey Lavello's magic touch. Kirby Yates pitched in the ball game last night. 2 runs are in, bases loaded, 2 outs. Curveball missed. It's 1-0. Iannetta now last 11 games. 6 homers and 10 runs batted in. Nick Ahmed's at 3rd. David Peralta, the runner, at 2nd, and Gregor Blanco at 1st. Fastball's a strike, 1-1. The 8th man to bat in the Diamondbacks' 6th. Just a curveball that got away, and it's 2 balls and a strike.
We laugh about the Diamondbacks scoring with 2 outs. How about with the bases loaded in this series? They're 3 for 3 with 6 RBIs with the bases loaded.
On the verge of a 3-game sweep of these Padres. Here's the 2-1 to Chris Iannetta. Check swing foul. That's got to be frustrating.
Yeah, it really is. You don't even get a legitimate hack at the ball. You're just kind of trying to get out of the way. And the ball sails up and in and hits your bat.
Goldie would be next. .30-pitch inning now for Kevin Quackenbush. Only half of his pitches for strikes. Drives it right center, and that ball gets down. Ahmed scores. Peralta is home. Here comes Blanco. Chris Iannetta with a 3-run double. He's knocked in 5.
Quackenbush, that big curveball, which is his out pitch, just hasn't been there consistently for him today. He's missed with it twice already in this at bat. That fastball that hit Iannetta's bat, and then another fastball up and out over the plate. I really think Quackenbush just doesn't have a feel for his curve today. That's usually his out pitch, especially against right-handers, but Iannetta instead got a fastball up and out over the plate and found that gap in right center.
9-3 lead. Here's Goldie. Goldie blasts one to the right field corner. This will get Iannetta home. 10-3 Diamondbacks. The RBI double for Paul Goldschmidt. Diamondbacks, for the second time in this series, have put up 10 on the Padres.
Another up and out over the plate, hittable 92-mile-an-hour fastball, and Goldie does what he's supposed to do, drive it down into that corner for another RBI. Diamondbacks have scored runs in 3 innings in this ball game, and all 3 innings they had 2 outs and nobody on base.
Unbelievable. This inning started with 2 strikeouts. They've batted around. Here's Chris Owings, who struck out against Quackenbush to begin this inning. Diamondbacks this season now with 11 innings of at least 5 runs. That's the most of the major leagues. There's that Quackenbush curveball. CO can't lay off, and it's 0-2. Diamondbacks have sent 10 men to the plate in this 6th inning. 6 have scored. Got him. A 6-run D-backs 6th, all with 2 outs. 10-3.
Have taken the 10-3 lead as we head to the 7th, and they continue scoring on 2 outs, prompting Torey Lovullo last night to call his offense very opportunistic. He explained that what he enjoys about this team is that they, quote, smell blood, get an opening, and they exploit it. He said the Diamondbacks have that punch that they can connect for those home runs. We've seen that, but he said they can also manufacture runs. They can build on innings and create moments, capitalizing on them, and we just saw evidence of that in that last inning, guys, and really we've seen that throughout this series. When there's 2 outs, they are not backing down, making every pitch count, and it's showing up on the scoreboard.
Well, you're right, Kate. A 5-run 3rd last night, all with 2 outs. Today, a 6-run 6th, all with 2 outs. It is amazing. So it's a 10-3 lead for Silvino Bracho, back up from Reno. He's been going back and forth all year. Solarte will lead it off. Diamondbacks today place Zach Greinke on the paternity leave list. Zach and his wife Emily are about to have their 2nd child, and so Bracho is here. Got a chance for Silvino to get some big league innings in. Solarte singled and scored in the 1st. He's 1 for 3. So Greinke's not with the team right now. He's not scheduled to pitch in the Brewers series anyway. So he's with Emily as they get ready for the big event. There's a fly ball, pretty deep right field. Owings at the track. one out.
Hey, fans get to any weekend game this season with the new D-backs Bud Light ticket pack. The pack includes a game ticket, a Bud Light, and a bacon wrapped Sonoran dog, all for just $29. Visit dbacks.com/Bud Light.
Well, we're talking about clutch and opportunistic, as Kate was mentioning a moment ago. How about Chris Iannetta? He's got 8 home runs this year. 6 of Iannetta's 8 homers have either tied the game or given the Diamondbacks the lead.
Wow.
Now that is clutch.
Yes, indeed.
Will Myers. He's walked and singled twice. D-backs have 14 home runs by their catchers this year. And, you know, that's amazing considering all the emphasis, and it's worked out very well, that was placed on pitch framing and having sort of a defensive mindset with the position. Well, they're getting the offense too.
Yeah. And obviously with 3 catchers rotating behind the plate, yeah, every guy wants to be the guy to get all the at-bats and get all the playing time, but it has really worked out well as a ham and egg situation with Jeff Mathis and Chris Herman, and today Chris Iannetta. All have contributed offensively, and all have done their job behind the plate extremely well.
Oh, 0-2 on Will Myers. Called strike 3. Silvino Bracho rings him up.
Right fielder.
Drops a changeup in there. A lot of tailing action. The ball starts just off the outside corner and then tails back to the corner for a called strike.
Well, they really like the way that Silvino Bracho gets that ball to move. He's got a little hop to his pitches. He can rise it, he can sink it. Got a very live arm. Hunter Renfroe. Renfroe has singled and doubled today. Back to the catchers for just a second, talking about the emphasis that was placed on defense and what they're getting offensively. The Astros and Diamondbacks were tied with 14 home runs by their catchers this season. So now Diamondbacks have the lead. D-backs catchers are right behind the Tigers, who have 16 home runs for most home runs by the catchers on a team. So the D-backs right now #2 in baseball in home runs by the catchers from a defensive position.
And granted, all 3 guys carrying a fairly low batting average at this point in the season, but when they've made contact, they've made things happen.
Oh, it's a good little slider there from Bracho. Ahead of Renfroe, 1-2. One of a fastball up, hits it on the ground to Ahmed. Silvino Bracho, a 1-2-3 7th. We stretch at Chase Field on this Throwback Thursday. It's 10-3 Diamondbacks. Hey fans, beginning next Thursday, it's golf's can't miss major. The U.S. Open, 117th U.S. Open, starts next Thursday on Fox FS1, and it streams live on Fox Sports Go. Good day to be at the ballpark on this Throwback Thursday matinee. It's camp day today here, BB. We've got nearly 2,000 campers with us at Chase Field, and these guys are from Wickenburg. They're here with us today.
Yeah, glad to have them. What a day at the ballpark. See the Diamondbacks bang the ball all over the yard. With a 7-run lead over the Padres right now. They're having a great time.
Big camp day today. They're spread out all over the ballpark, assorted by color. That way we can keep an eye on everybody, know where they are. Make sure everybody's all right, staying together, having a great time here. Kirby Yates, who pitched in the ball game last night, he worked the 8th inning, is on to work the 7th here in a 10-3 ball game. Daniel Descalso leads it off.
Yeah, Yates pitched the 8th inning in the ball game last night, struck out the side. He did walk a batter and give up a stolen base, but the 8th inning took about 45 minutes.
Is that all? Seemed longer.
A lot of throws to first base, a lot of deep counts, a lot of foul balls.
You know, there was a thing about that in Washington today. I know you're aware. Senator McCain was answering some questions of, you know, the senator. He's here all the time, a huge Diamondback fan, and he was asked to clarify some of his statements, and he said, I guess I shouldn't have stayed up all night last night watching the Diamondbacks game.
He can't help himself.
How great is that? So he was hanging in with us last night. Not a crisply played baseball game late.
I remember a few of those when I was managing and we were back on the East Coast, and, you know, keeping track of the teams that are in the National League West, and a lot of them were playing at home, so you'd stay up till 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Either listening to or watching those West Coast games after you had already finished on the East Coast.
Descalso, high fly ball, right field, and there it goes. Daniel Descalso, that's his 5th, and it's 11-3.
Tailing fastball started on the inside corner and tailed right back into the barrel of Daniel Descalso's bat. And Renfroe gives it a jump on the fence out there, but he had no chance to get to that one.
Good day for Descalso, a single, a homer, 2 RBIs. Here's Brandon Drury. Diamondbacks 11 runs on 11 hits.
In the series, the Diamondbacks 25 hits have produced 28 runs. For the Padres, 1 fewer hit, 24, has produced 9 runs.
All those walks.
Well, and we talked about the Padres when this series started. They're so homer dependent. Almost half of their runs this season have been scored via the home run. Diamondbacks are a little better suited to string together hits and walks and take advantage of opposing errors. They'll hit the occasional home run like Daniel Descalso just did. But a lot of their offensive rallies are stringing together one good at bat after another, after another, after another.
Hall with 2 outs, it seems.
Yeah.
That was certainly the case in that 6th inning when the first 2 batters in the inning struck out. Diamondbacks still scored 6 runs. Drury. Renfroe runs that one down for the first out in the 7th. Here's Jake Lamb.
That's one of those hang with him at bats for Brandon Drury. He couldn't do it much better than he did right there. Took an outside pitch and lined it into right field. Unfortunately, right at Hunter Renfroe.
Lamb has twice grounded out. He's walked and scored a run. Those 53 runs batted in, tops of the major leagues. There's the defensive alignment against him. Barilla out there in right field. Solarte, the 3rd baseman, in the 2nd base spot. Jake Lamb last 21 games, 8 home runs and 27 runs batted in. Remember, fans, use those Esurance MLB All-Star ballots. Get the Diamondbacks in the All-Star game. Jake Lamb certainly deserves to be there. Remember, he's certainly All-Star worthy. He was in that final vote last year. Didn't quite make it. He should be there this year in Miami for the All-Star game. Diamondbacks have a whole bunch of candidates. Goldie, obviously, Jake Lamb, Chris Owings, Robbie Ray, Zach Greinke. You're looking at Lamb at his position. Okay, who's the deserving third baseman in the National League? Well, Lamb is first in OPS, second in slugging, first in home runs, and he leads all of baseball in RBIs. Those are all-star numbers. Got caught looking at a fastball. First strikeout for Yates, 2 down.
Yates, because of that low arm angle, gets a lot of tailing action even on his four-seam fastball at 95, just enough to work that ball back to the inside corner for a called strike.
Nick Ahmed, a pair of singles today. He scored a run. Big swing and a miss. Silvino Bracho, whose spot is due up next, is in the on-deck circle after pitching a 1-2-3 seventh. Another good day at the plate for Nick with those 2 singles. Since the end of April, he's batting over 300. And this has become the year of Nick Ahmed, the offensive player.
I mean, for years we've been saying, boy, if Nick had just hit 250 or 260, he'd be a great major league shortstop.
Well, right now he's batting 279 for the year. Headed for radio. Little shy. Silvino Bracho's got his own bat. Do relief pitchers have their own bats? I guess so.
I guess if you want them,
they'll make them for you.
Some relievers don't even bother. I don't need a helmet. I don't need batting gloves. I'm not going to hit.
Well, when you're pitching an 11-3 game, you are.
And then you find
look out, baby.
Taking an at bat, and you got to borrow batting gloves and find a helmet that fits. And who wants to let me use their bat? And everybody says, not me.
Yeah.
Don't touch my bats.
Keep walking, pal. Well, Silvino Bracho, I guess, should have his own bat. As a hitter in the minor leagues, 0 for 1. Last year with the Diamondbacks, 0 for 1. He's due.
You don't want to put any marks on that bat. He just ordered one.
It's got its own case like Wonder Boy. Way up in the air, short left, Caesar and d'Arnaud. Chase d'Arnaud's got it. We'll head to the 8th inning. It's 11-3 Diamondbacks. It all started with 2 outs. Our Cox high-speed highlights. David Peralta, a pinch hit, 2-out, 2-run single. Iannetta, a 3-run double, clears the bases. Goldie follows with an RBI double as the D-backs put up 6 in the 6th. And as we start the 8th inning, they lead it 11-3. Talk about your home field advantage. How about this? We are #1.
Yeah, first in the majors in runs per game, average, OPS, second in home runs here at Chase Field this season. I mean, we can go on and on. Total bases, doubles, slugging percentage, just about every offensive category you can imagine. The Diamondbacks are first or second in the majors here at Chase Field.
Some changes defensively. Goldie gets the rest of the day off, so Daniel Descalso moves from left field to first base, and Jeremy Hazelbaker takes over in left. Austin Hedges, the Padres catcher, leads off the 8th inning. Bracho out there after a 1-2-3 7th. Barring a miracle comeback, this will be the Diamondbacks' 9th win in 13 meetings with the Padres so far this year. And this will be the last time these two teams face each other until September, when they have 2 more series coming up. Diamondbacks will move back to 12 over 500 at 37-25. Padres will drop to 23-38. Hedges bidding for a home run, fair or foul. It's gone. Austin Hedges, that's his 12th, making an 11-4 ball game. No catcher in the big leagues has more home runs than Austin Hedges. Don't write this one down in ink just yet. The umpires are huddling up. Clint Fagan, the third base umpire, right on the line. He immediately signaled home run. Ron Gardenhire on the phone with Alan Campbell, video coordinator. You cannot challenge. Now they're all getting together and saying foul. So bring it back. You can request that the umpires review it. Clearly they didn't need to here. Everyone saw it. But you can challenge the home run. Here's a look. Yeah, that's wow. Big miss there.
Fagan, what are you looking at? I mean, occasionally when the ball is hit so high it goes over the foul pole, it becomes much tougher to decipher whether it was fair or foul, but that was pretty clear cut right there off the facing of the second deck.
Pretty good poke by Hedges, but it's a loud strike 2. Boy, that's the thing. That's how things are going for Andy Green right now.
I was just thinking that, you know, you mentioned we don't see the Padres again till September with expanded rosters. There would be some 6-hour games against us.
Still, we've got to get that fixed.
Yeah, you know, we had the commissioner in here a couple days ago, but unfortunately the inning was so fast we didn't really get a chance to ask those probing questions. That's something, yeah, you're absolutely right, definitely needs to be fixed.
2-2 to Austin Hedges. And Bracho battles back and gets the strikeout. Well, when the new details of the CBA were announced, everyone said that. Oh, they didn't fix that?
Yeah.
That seems kind of obvious.
And it would appear to be an easy fix. Of course, you know, I'm not a lawyer. I don't sit in on those negotiations, but it would seem to be a relatively easy fix. You maybe expand the rosters to 28 or 30 on a given day. You can bring all 40 guys up if you want to on your 40-man roster, but you can only have 28 or 30 active in a given day.
Franchy Cordero slices one into left for a 1-out single. Well, everything's got to be cleared and through the players union and collectively bargained, but you're talking about roster spots and jobs, and that's never easy. But you're right, there's all kinds of different creative solutions.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem competitively fair to go through 5 months of a season using one set of rules, and then in the final month of the season when pennant races are decided, the rules completely change.
Generally, it seems, drives everybody crazy.
Yeah.
Yet it's still around. Matt Caesar. Giants, by the way, are still playing in Milwaukee. They're tied up 5-5 in the 10th at Miller Park. Brewers, after that ball game, will fly here to Phoenix. Start a 3-game series at Chase Field tomorrow night. Brandon Drury's camped out under that one, 2 down.
Yeah, you mentioned that Giants Brewer game. It looks like the Giants have just taken a 6-5 lead in the top half of the 10th inning. Hunter Pence with an RBI single to center field.
Brandon Maurer warming up for the Padre bullpen. Randall Delgado gets the start here tomorrow night against Zach Davies. Zach Godley pitches on Saturday. Robbie Ray Sunday. Here's Chase Darno. Diamondbacks, this will be 9 straight wins at home. 12 wins in their last 14 home games. Their record at Chase Field this year will improve to 24-8, the best in baseball. Hard to third. Lamb with a terrific backhand stop, long throw, and he got him. Put that one in the All-Star resume. Jake Lamb at third. A terrific play to win the top of the 8th inning.
For Diamondbacks Live, the post-game show coming up right after the game today. But Brandon, just between you and I, is there anything worse as a pitcher than giving up a 2-out run?
Not really. Just when you think you're getting out of the inning, getting ready to walk off that mound, cruising. You put some runs on the board, and that's what the D-backs have been doing all night long.
And all series long. We'll take a closer look at that here from Bob Brentley, came along with player reaction and skipper Torey Lovello right after this one. But first, bringing home Steve and Bob. We'll send it back to you.
Thanks, guys. The only thing I can think of worse than giving up a 2-out run is giving up 6 of them.
Yeah.
But that happened in the 6th inning. Brandon Maurer, the new pitcher for the Padres. And Ray Fuentes will take the at-bat. Here's the numbers on Maurer. 26th appearance of the year, a 5.25 ERA. Whole bunch of defensive changes for the Padres. Will Myers has come out of the game. Jose Pirela moves from second to first. Corey Spangenberg takes over at second, and Ryan Schimpf is in at third for Solarte. Ray Fuentes this year, 196. He singled and walked yesterday. He's hit safely in 3 of his last 4 games. Ray Fuentes drops one into left center, a leadoff single.
Hey fans, the D-backs will take on the Phillies for a 4-game series right here at Chase Field, June 23rd through the 26th. Star Wars Day is Saturday, June 24th, and the first 20,000 fans will receive a Paul Goldschmidt X-Wing fighter pilot Star Wars bobblehead, courtesy of Cox Communications. For tickets, as always, visit dbacks.com.
Gregor Blanco. Well, that was a big league sound effect right there. Blanco has singled, walked, scored twice. He's 1 for 3.
That Giants-Brewers game, the wheels have come off for the Craig Counsels a little bit. It's 8-5 now in the top of the 10th inning. Giants are still hitting. Boy, the Brewers have had a number of games like that recently. That series they had against the Dodgers when they seemingly had comfortable leads late. Let it get away.
Good. Let them have a long, miserable, demoralized flight here. We'll wear them out all weekend long. D-backs split a 4-game set at Miller Park on the last road trip. Brewers are in here for the first of 3 tomorrow night. Well, Mauer gets up a leadoff single of Fuentes, now behind on Blanco, 3-1. Tim Timmons gives him the inside strike call. Full count, 3-2. A single and a walk open up the Diamondback 8th inning. Here's one of the hitting heroes today, Chris Iannetta. Batting in the 2 spot. He grounded out to third his first 2 times up, but then a 2-run homer in the 5th, which was a big one. It gave the Diamondbacks, who were down 3-2, a 4-3 lead, that with 2 outs. And then in that 6-run 6th, again, all with 2 outs, Iannetta clears the bases with a 3-run double. So how do you top that?
Yeah, hit a 3-run bomb in the 8th.
Good answer. That'll work down the line. Iannetta's at it again. Fuentes will score. Here comes Blanco. He will score. Chris Iannetta. 7 RBIs. A career high 7 runs batted in for the Diamondback catcher.
Boy, even when he has to adjust his swing, you saw him take his top hand off the bat, really pull that left arm in close to his body. Once again, gets the barrel on the ball, pulls it down into that left field corner to drive home 2 more. Have a day, Chris Iannetta.
A home run, 2 doubles, 7 runs batted in. 13-3 D-backs, and here's Jeremy Hazelbaker, his first at bat today. 276 and 1 home run.
D-backs 6 for 8 with runners in scoring position today.
What kind of pitch is that?
Throw that and see what happens.
Need 5 guys to catch it.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive, being able to palm 5 balls. Johnny Bench used to be able to do 7.
How? Wow.
He would lodge him in there and, you know, kind of wedge a couple in there, but his fingers were so big.
Hazelbaker sends one to left center. Iannetta, come on in. Jeremy Hazelbaker, an RBI double, and it's 14-3.
Backs now 7 for 9 with runners in scoring position. Let's check the tote board.
Boy, Brandon Maurer so far, single walk, double-double.
Nice abbreviated approach that time by Hazelbaker. Really uses his hands and his wrists and just flips that ball out into the gap in left center field.
Aaron Balsley out there to the mound. Diamondbacks 14 runs on 14 hits. Boy, the D-backs to open up this series, beat up on the Padres 10-2 Tuesday night. Won 7-4 last night with that 5-run third, all 5 runs coming with 2 outs, and here today 14-3. Chris Owings drove in the first of those 14 runs, an RBI double in the first. How about in this series for the Arizona Diamondbacks? 31 runs scored on only 28 hits. That's maximizing your opportunities.
That sure is.
The other part about today's game, and they were, remember, down 2-0 after a half inning here, is that, not to pick on San Diego, but they're last in the division, and they're going to be last in the division for the rest of the year in all likelihood. And this is the last time you play them until September, so it's another chance to, you know, pad that win column a little bit. Win the games you're supposed to win. When you add all those things up, it makes a difference at the end of the year.
Sure does.
So they had won 8 of 12 against Andy Green's team coming into this one. So make it 9 of 13, and we'll see the Padres again twice in September. Chased a slider down and away. Just did get a piece of it to stay alive. Diamondbacks have swept the Indians, the Mets, and the White Sox here at Chase Field this year. This will be their 4th series sweep of the season. Began the day 2 games behind the Rockies for the National League West lead. Colorado is at Wrigley Field later tonight. Full count on CO 3-2. Descalso, who homered his last at bat, is on deck.
You mentioned the 2 series sweeps against the Indians and the White Sox. They also split a 2-game series with the Tigers, 7-1 in interleague play this year.
It all started with that first homestand. The Giants won 3 of 4. Swept the Tribe. That's a foul ball. Well, that's Clint Fagan. He's had a dicey day down there. He missed on the home run call. That one looked real close to the line.
Torrey's taking a look in that third base dugout, has the hand up, holding play just for a moment.
Clint, to his credit, was perfectly positioned. We play on. Here's a look. Good call.
Yeah, call, foul territory. Kind of tough to tell once again with the shadows and the sun out there. Right where that ball landed, just foul down the left field line.
3-2 pitch on the way. Mauer still has yet to record an out in this inning. And he's still going. Owings sends it into the left field corner. Make it 15-3. Hazelbaker's home, an RBI double for CO, his second today. And that'll be it for Brandon Mauer. He faced 5 batters, gave up a single, a walk, and 3 doubles. And guess who's coming into pitch? We saw this earlier this year. It's Eric Ibar. This happened in a game against the Padres at Petco Park earlier this season. So the shortstop Ibar is on in the 8th. We'll take a break. It's 15-3 Diamondbacks. For the infielder Eric Ibar. His first one was earlier this year, April 18th, against the Diamondbacks at Petco Park. He came in to get the Herminator. Game was a little bit out of hand, and Ibar got the out he needed and ran off the mound like Zach Godley. So here we go. Still no outs in this 8th inning. Brandon Mauer failed to retire a single batter. He'll face Daniel Descalso, who homered his last time up. Owings at second after his RBI double. D-backs with 15 runs on 15 hits. Descalso an RBI single and the solo homer. He's trying not to laugh up there. This was Descalso in the 7th off Kirby Yates. He's shaking off. What's he shaking off?
He throws change-ups and knuckleballs.
I guess he wanted the knuckler. Uh-oh. This could get ugly. Could.
Yeah.
Brandon Drury now.
Brandon Drury.
Brandon still sitting out this hit parade. He's been hit by a pitch and scored a run, but he's 0 for 3. Floats one in there. There's the knuckler. Last time the Diamondbacks scored anywhere near this high run total, June 4th, 2014, they beat the Rockies 16-8 at Coors Field. Drury sends one out deep right field. Renfroe backing up at the track. He's got it. Owings will tag up, head for third. What's next brought to you by CenturyLink. Right now the Brewers are still playing. They're hosting the Giants. They trail San Francisco 9-5 in the 10th inning at Miller Park. After that game they fly here where Randall Delgado is on the mound tomorrow night against Zach Davies, first of 3. And Zach Godley on Saturday, Robbie Ray on Sunday. Get your tickets, fans, dbacks.com, because after that series it's another long 3-city road trip.
That Sunday game should be interesting. Chase Anderson has been on quite a roll lately since his near no-hitter against the D-backs at Miller Park on that last road trip. Hooked up against Robbie Ray. That should be a good one.
Chase Anderson almost no-hit the Diamondbacks. That was an interesting ball game after we walked the first 2 batters in that game. Jake Lamb. Spangenberg at second. Darno turns the double play. So Ibar gets the double play ball. Once again, he gets him out of a mess. We'll head to the 9th in a 15-3 ball game. All kinds of offense for the Diamondbacks, about to sweep San Diego. It's 15-3 as we start the 9th inning. It's our Gila River game summary. What can you say? They've scored 15 runs, 10 coming with 2 outs, a career high 7 runs batted in for Chris Iannetta, who has homered and doubled twice. TJ McFarland, the left-hander, is on to work the 9th. It's the Ashline call to the bullpen, and TJ, a guy who they picked up really off the scrap heap this spring, has been just outstanding in this D-backs pen.
Getting a lot of ground ball outs. That sinker's really been working down in the zone for him this year.
Luis Torrens, who came in to catch the last half inning. One of the changes for Andy Green, will lead it off. Comment at shortstop. Throw pulls to Scalzo off the bank. He can't hang on, and Torrens is aboard.
You know, partner, I've been watching Luis Torrens throughout this series, and he reminds me of somebody, and it might be a little bit of a stretch, but I think he looks a lot like Zach Godley.
Oh, and I imagine your staff has put something together here.
Of course they did. You know, from certain angles, you get the eyes and the beard and the whole deal going. It could be distant relatives.
Close enough. Facial hair.
Godley probably a little faster than Luis Torrens.
Hopefully. That's an error on Nick Ahmed, E6 on the board. Second error on Nick today.
Now, Nick only had 2 errors all season coming into play today. Really odd to see him make 1 error in a ball game, let alone 2. Although the first one was a little shaky on a relay throw.
Jose Pirela.
Pirela may be enjoying a little bit of a honeymoon period, just called up to the major leagues, and nobody really quite knows where the holes are in his swing. The best way to attack him. It looks like the slower you can throw it, the better.
He's a swinger.
Yes, indeed. Off speed breaking pitches, change ups, splitters, whatever you have that's really off speed.
Like that.
Yeah. He wants to hack, and he wants to hack at something hard like a fastball.
Third baseman, Ryan Schimpf.
Way out in front that time.
First at bat today for Ryan Schimpf, who took over at third base. 0 for 3 in the series with 3 strikeouts. Batting .159 on the year. Got good power, 14 homers. D-backs have the shift on. He taps one into it. Descalso at first. Can he beat him to the bag? He gets there just in time. Shift was on, and so Torrens saw that nobody was at third. Descalso worried about that too, but Lamb was able to get back over there.
This had the potential for disaster over there at first base. 2 guys going as hard as they can, trying to get to the bag first. Fortunately, they were able to kind of glance off of each other there, and Descalso quickly checked the runner to make sure he wasn't trying to go to third.
Here's Corey Spangenberg. Brandon Drury at second base, and the Diamondbacks sweep the Padres. They win it 15-3, and the Diamondbacks, baseball's best home record at 24-8. They've won 9 straight here.
Now, you might say, well, it's the Padres. You're supposed to beat the Padres, but I think it's the way the Diamondbacks went about it, the quality of at-bats that they had throughout this series, whether it's getting base hits or taking walks to set it up to the guy behind you. Just a tremendous offensive output in this series.
Chris Iannetta, a career-high 7 runs batted in, a season-high 15 runs for the Diamondbacks. Remember, they were down 2-0. They win it 15-3. Their 21st come-from-behind win this year. It's the 4th series sweep of the season. They take all 3 from San Diego. More from Chase Field coming up right after this.